Next game is Mississippi State and Louisville. Louisville is on the upswing. Their new coach, a lot of energy there. I'll take Louisville.
Yeah, I like the direction Louisville's going as well.
Now, Cal and Illinois is kind of an even matchup, but it's in the Red Box Bowl at 49ers Stadium in Santa Clara, so I'll pick Cal.
Yeah, no debate again. It's in their backyard.
Yeah. Florida and Virginia. The ACC gets a bad rap for not being a strong conference. I think they have a lot of good teams, but they only have one dominant team like Clemson. And I think Virginia is a very good football team. Florida is probably a little bit better, but I think Virginia is going to be motivated, and I'll pick Virginia to win that game.
You know what? I'm going to stay with the Florida Gators. Dan Mullen's a heck of a coach.
Yeah, you're right. He's getting mentioned for the Cowboys job.
Oh, is he really getting mentioned for the Cowboys?
Well,
really?
People are talking. Urban Meyer's the number one name people are mentioning, but people are also saying Urban Meyer couldn't get along with Jerry Jones because Urban Meyer's a control freak, and so is Jerry Jones. So it'd be kind of like Bill Parcells. They'll be butting heads all the time. And Dan Mullen has been mentioned as a name that might fit Jerry Jones better.
No, I haven't heard that until now, but that'd be interesting to see if that does happen.
Yeah, and Dan Mullen's obviously a good coach. He did well at Mississippi State.
Right.
Could only take that program so far, and now he's at Florida. We'll see if the NFL appeals to him.
Yeah, that's. I'll be curious to see how that plays out, for sure.
Yeah.
He's a good offensive coach, so that's what Jerry Jones is looking for, a good offensive coach, because he certainly has some fine talent with the Cowboys. Just have to bring them together.
Okay, on New Year's Eve, we got Virginia Tech and Kentucky. And again, I'm going to talk about how the ACC gets a bad rap. There's a lot of medium teams in the ACC, but there are also in the SEC. They just don't get talked about as much because LSU and Alabama and Georgia are so far above everybody. But Kentucky's no big SEC team to be afraid of. I'll take Virginia Tech in that game.
Oh, I'm going Virginia Tech for sure.
Next game, Florida State and Arizona State. I'm going to take Arizona State. I'm a big fan of Herm Edwards.
Same here.
And Florida State, obviously, with the coaching change. And then Herm Edwards has made strides. This was his second year, so he built on the modest success he had last year, and he had his team in contention for the Pac-12 division title that they're in. So I'll take Arizona State.
Yeah, I am too. Herman Edwards, he's got Marvin Lewis there. Now here he's planning to bring in Hugh Jackson, so he'll bring in a stable of NFL coaches and try to instill some of these pro values into the college.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Got to go with
Marvin Lewis is already there, or he's joining?
He was there this past year. Hugh Jackson will be heading to Tempe next.
Oh boy, interesting. Okay, next game is Navy and Kansas State. Navy is a very good team this year. I'll take Navy.
Well, you're a military guy anyway, so how the heck are you going to go against your armed forces team, man?
Yeah.
I like the way Navy looks as well.
And then the last game on the 31st is Wyoming and Georgia State. Again, those Georgia State and Georgia Southern programs are on the rise because there's just so much talent in that state. I'll take Georgia State.
No debate there either. Okay, I'm with you.
Let's see. That's December 31st. You know what I did? I skipped over December 30th. We got Utah and Texas. Boy, if Tom Herman loses that game, the heat is going to really be on him. And I'll take Utah to beat Texas. Texas hasn't really shown much.
Yeah, I like Utah as well. I mean, they lost to a pretty good Oregon team, so I think they're going to be mad after that loss.
Okay, and then next, my nightmare choice, when it looked like they might play in last year's college football playoff, the two schools I hate the most and I never root for, Michigan and Alabama. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but since Michigan's in the Big Ten, I'll root for them and pick them.
Well, I mean, I could lead with my heart, go with Michigan. or I can lead with my head, go with Alabama. I'm actually going to go Alabama to win it.
Yeah, I kind of have a hunch Alabama's going to come up flat with the way their season went. I could be wrong, but that's my hunch.
Well, I hope I am wrong and Michigan does win. I
Yeah.
haven't even decided if I'm going to apply for that game yet. I have a decision to make pretty soon if I'm going to do it. If not, it won't really be the worst thing in the world either way.
Okay, another Big Ten SEC game, Minnesota and Auburn. Auburn probably has too much for Minnesota. We all enjoyed Minnesota's run, their unbeaten run, and then upset of Penn State. But I knew they weren't going to finish the year unbeaten in the regular season and go up against Ohio State. They're just not that. They just don't have that much talent. So Auburn will be too much for them.
Well, I'm actually going to go ahead and pick Minnesota in this game.
Okay. Next game, the Rose Bowl. Oregon, it just doesn't seem right. The Rose Bowl is an afterthought. Oregon and Wisconsin. I'll take Wisconsin.
Got to go Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin right now. I'm amongst a bunch of cheeseheads. And you know what? The Badgers, Jonathan Taylor, could be too much for anybody to handle.
Yeah, it's contrasting styles with Oregon's passing and Wisconsin's running, but I'll take Wisconsin.
Yeah, though Mario Cristobal's done an outstanding job up in Eugene, that's for sure.
He sure has. Okay, so I skipped over, and that was December 30th, so now we go to January 2nd. Boston College, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, again, I'm going back to plug in the AAC because, I cover East Carolina for the Raleigh News and Observer. And although East Carolina only had a 4-8 record, I saw how good a lot of those teams were that East Carolina played with, and then just in general following the ACC. So Cincinnati, I think, will thump Boston College pretty good, especially since Boston College fired its coach.
Yeah, no debate there. Luke, don't underestimate the fact that Luke Fickell is a really good coach too. He's done a great job over.
Yeah, and that's another reason I'll pick Cincinnati. Is Luke Fickell's done such a great job.
Yeah, he sure has.
Okay, and then Indiana and Tennessee. Tennessee is just one of those teams you can't count on. Indiana has had a lot of encouraging moments this season. They've played teams tough. I'll pick Indiana.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too, over in Jacksonville. So.
Yeah. Oh, is that where that game is?
Yeah, the Gator Bowl, as they say.
All right. And then on January 3rd, we have Ohio and Nevada. I don't think Ohio can keep up with Nevada. They're too good for them. I'll take Nevada.
Oh, I'm going to go Ohio.
Okay, and then let me skip to January 4th before we go to the college football playoff. January 4th, Southern Mississippi and Tulane. Again, I'm going back to the AAC West. Tulane, AAC West Division. Tulane was a very good team. They played everybody tough, but they were coming up short in the close games. But Tulane is a very explosive team, and I think they'll handle Southern Mississippi without trouble.
Yeah, well, all I can say about Southern Mississippi, Brett Favre isn't walking through that door, so I'm with you. Then I'll go Tulane as well.
Yeah, and then January 6th, we got Louisiana against Miami of Ohio. Boy, flip a coin on that one. Those are two programs that are about the same. Miami of Ohio won the MAC, played a pretty impressive game against Central Michigan. I'll go with Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Okay, now to the college football playoff. We got Ohio State and Clemson at 2-3, and LSU and Oklahoma at 1-4. I don't think Oklahoma can play with any of the other three teams. I think LSU will handle them. LSU got the easier game when they got to move up to number 1, and Ohio State dropped down to number 2. So now Ohio State and Clemson is a battle royale. I'm going to pick Ohio State because I think they've been more consistent. I think they've got a few more weapons. But Clemson could easily win that game. And Clemson, Dabo Swinney's been playing the chip on the shoulder that they're not respected. And that game's a coin toss. I'd be interested to see what the point spread on that. It can't be very much. And then, to pick either Ohio State or Clemson. Whichever one emerges from that semifinal game, I'm going to pick them to beat LSU.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Ohio State, and I'm actually going to go with LSU. I like the fact that Ohio State that they look. I'm got to be pulling for a Big Ten school to win it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I agree with you. I got to go with Ohio State. They just have so much talent right now. And I got to root against Clemson. Let's see, that was our last game to pick. That moves me on to my bone to pick with Dabo Sweeney.
Yeah, right.
He came out and was complaining. First of all, let's go back to Ohio State dropping from number 1 to number 2.
Sure.
I don't think they got enough credit for beating Wisconsin twice. They beat them in the regular season.
Right.
Wisconsin came out fired up and took a 21-7 lead, and you got to be a darn good team to come back from that against a team that you've already beaten. It's highly motivated to gain revenge. So I think that game shows you just how good Ohio State is, and they didn't get enough credit from it from the College Football Playoff Committee. They always favor the SEC schools, and I think if I was on that committee, I would have kept Ohio State number 1 and LSU number 2, maybe even Clemson number 2. And then LSU number 3.
Well, frankly, Ohio State just didn't get enough style points against Wisconsin. Is really what it comes down to.
But you got to factor in they're playing them for the second time, and that's always tough in sports.
Well, yeah, you make adjustments for sure.
And, it's a good team, and they're going to have the psychological edge. So they didn't get enough credit for that win. But back to Dabo Sweeney. He's complaining about how they were ranked, the defending national champion, ranked number 1 to start the season, and then slid to number 3. And he tried to compare that, and I will agree with him that they probably shouldn't have slid to number 3. Maybe it should be Ohio State, Clemson, LSU. But where he lost me is where he compared Clemson slipping from 1 to 3 as a defending national champion to Alabama in 1966. And I wrote a whole story about this. It's on my website if people want to check it out, ShanahanReport.com. Just like Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, ShanahanReport.com. Look for the picture of Dabo. Dabo tried to compare his team falling to number 3 to Alabama falling as a defending national champion falling to and the preseason number 1 falling to number 3 in 1966. But that's apples and oranges, because in 1966, Michigan State and Notre Dame played for the national championship, a quasi-national championship, when they met late in the season. They were both unbeaten. Notre Dame was ranked number 1, Michigan State number 2. They played to a 10-10 tie. It stayed that way 1-2 with Alabama 3, even though Alabama made claims that they were the only unbeaten team with their 10-0 record, and then they won the bowl game. They were 11-0. Michigan State and Notre Dame both finished 9-0-1. So people forget that they were also unbeaten teams. But back in those days, Michigan State couldn't play in a bowl game because there was a no repeat rule in the Big Ten, and they had played in the Rose Bowl the previous year. And back in those days, the Big Ten had an exclusive deal with the Rose Bowl. They played in the Rose Bowl, and the conference champion played in the Rose Bowl and nowhere else, and no other team could play in a bowl game. And then Notre Dame, back in those days, they did not go to bowl games. So, this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show. The bowl games were considered rewards. They weren't part of the national rankings, and Notre Dame had decided they weren't going to go to bowl games because it conflicted with exam schedules. And in reality, the regular season rankings were all done. So they didn't change that policy until 1969 when they played Texas in the Cotton Bowl. So anyways, you have Alabama number 3, Michigan State number 2, and Notre Dame number 1. And Dabo's trying to compare this segregated all-white Alabama team that didn't play anyone all year. They were 10-0 in the regular season. They didn't play a single ranked team.